I noticed an on-chain monkey on your Twitter profile, and we know Danny Huep, and we've actually invested in MetaGood. And so we've gone down the rabbit hole on quite a few Bitcoin ecosystem plays. And I was a little surprised to see it, and I just kind of smiled. And then I realized you're always on the front of the curve, Mark. And I was just wondering, what are your thoughts on the ordinals, the runes, on the soon-to-be RWAs on the Bitcoin chain?
Yep.
And again, one thing that BlackRock is talking very openly about is RWAs. To my shock, I think they've tokenized some 300 or 400 billion of treasuries, and they have their own token
Money
called
market fund.
the build token. Kind of blew my mind. And then, of course, I want to find out, they're talking about the Ethereum ETF, which is a whole nother level. Meanwhile, Saylor is saying that's never going to happen. So that's a bunch of questions in one. Maybe we start with the monkey, because the maxi...
On-chain monkeys, I am a huge, huge fan. I love the community. Look, I got introduced to on-chain monkeys by Bill Tai. He was the founder. Kite VC. He's a venture capitalist. And he told me about it. We were both speaking at Raoul Paul's event a few years ago. And he said, we created this thing to monetize karma. And I'm a big believer in karma. I believe a couple of things. I believe, one, if you continually give, you'll continually have. So the more you give to a community, the more you get back. I believe in the power of communities. I think communities make us stronger and better. And so he said, what this allows us to do is we have a currency inside the community called bananas. And if you see somebody doing something good for the world, you give them a rise, respect, innovation, sustainability, and entrepreneurship. And you give them a rise and they get paid bananas. Like, I love that. I'm in. So I said, all right, I'm in. I want to be part of this community. So I joined the community, and Amanda Terry and those guys at MetaGood, they called me up and said, hey, do you want to get involved? So like you, I invested in MetaGood as well. And Danny is amazing. I mean, if anyone, again, everyone, who's Satoshi, like, he literally could be, he's not, but he is smart enough technically to be. So just amazing engineer and craftsman in the blockchain world. Amazing. So I got involved with those guys, and then the community kicked in, and everything from I went ahead and I bought a celestial monkey. So there are there's the regular on-chain monkey Genesis, and then there's the Karma, and then there are a handful of these celestials. And there are only 4 today. And so I met virtually these other 4, and we became friendly, right? And we started exchanging ideas. And now I'm in partnership with the other one, Soldman Gax, right? Ex-Goldman Sachs guy. And Soldman and I are involved in a project where we want to recreate what Saylor's done in the US to Japan. So something called MetaPlanet. So no relation to MetaGood, but long story is the community is amazing. And so I love that. On top of that, Danny was the first, arguably, to take the Ethereum-based monkeys, put them onto the Bitcoin blockchain using ordinals, and uses very technical, where you're just compressing these images down. So they're, and the bottom line is, why does that matter? Well, look, if you have something of value, and not that these are super valuable, they have some value. If you have something of value, wouldn't you want to store it on the most, protected chain, the strongest chain? Of course. So Rod Ardamore did that. Not Rod. What's his name? Casey Ardamore created Ordinals, and it gave these developers the ability to take assets and inscribe them on the Bitcoin blockchain. Now, why is that good? Well, it's good in a number of ways. One, you and I can store assets that are valuable, digital artifacts, on the strongest chain, and we contribute transaction fees to the miners, which means maybe fair value doesn't have to go up as much in this halving because there's more transaction fees. So that's a good thing. And then you go with runes. Now, runes is just meme coins. And I say just meme coins in that I'm more of an investment guy, a value investment guy. I'm not so much a trader. I'm not so much a speculator. I have nothing against speculation. I think Joe Roaring Kitty coming back and squeezing the shorts, I think is hilarious. But I admire the innovation of runes, and I admire Casey. I mean, the guy's a mad genius. And I admire people like Leonidas and others who have embraced it and are trying to create the ecosystem of memes. And if memes are here to stay, which I think they are, and what is a meme? A meme, quote Anthony, right? My he says it's monetizing culture. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of right. And so if that's going to happen, do you want to own something on a chain where it's a pointer to an AWS server? Not as good as owning it on chain. I'd much rather be on chain. So I do think proof of work is better than proof of stake. I believe that. Other people don't. I do. I think proof of work is the best way of running blockchains. Therefore, Bitcoin to me does, and you and I talked about this last time we were together, in my worldview, there's we're just going to replicate the internet, right? TCP, IP, FTP, SMTP, HTTPS, www. Maybe it's Bitcoin as the base layer. Maybe it's Filecoin. Maybe it's Ethereum. I don't know what the middle two are. Or you just have a bunch of L1s and it's a new paradigm. And then we have bridges. Problem is the bridges aren't very secure. Chainlink says they are, or it is. Maybe. But the third mental model of one chain to rule all chains, right? The Lord of the Rings, which is Bitcoin is the chain and everything ultimately settles to Bitcoin. Now, not in real time, just the same way that we don't all settle to Fedwire,
right,
or gold, right? Central banks own the gold. The big banks settle to Fedwire. We use ACH in our bank accounts, but I don't use that but once a month. Yeah. I use a Visa card that runs in a database, and once a month, I use an ACH to settle to Fedwire. So in that same vein, I could batch all of my transactions for coffee or whatever in an L2 or L3, and once in a while, settle down to the main chain. I think that's certainly possible.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, it's Brian Rose, founder of the DeFi Academy. I've told you my 4-week crypto bootcamp is amazing, but don't take my word for it. This is what my students are saying.
The DeFi Academy was an amazing experience for me. It took me totally out of my comfort zone.
In this course, I was challenged, I was held accountable, and pushed to do things that honestly weren't always easy.
It's been phenomenal, and I can't believe we're already up on our 4 weeks. It has flown by.
Going through this DeFi accelerator by far was one of the best courses I've taken.
You do this course, you really get into the nitty-gritty of the activities that will make you comfortable with decentralized finance.
Thank you so much to Brian and everyone at London Real and the DeFi Academy for even putting together an amazing course like this.
Anybody else that wants to do it, please sign up. It is well worth the money.